Let's bring in Sophie Elsworth, the media writer at The Australian. She's hosting Front Page tonight on the desk here with me. Great to see you, Sophie.
You too, Chris.
Now, what about that coverage? Have they gone too far on all this stuff? And is one of their national news-reading faces the right person to be Mr World Pride and Mardi Gras?
Well, their coverage, Chris, was everywhere. As you say, they've also got queer ABC social media accounts set up. This was saturation at the highest level. I wonder how much they're spending on this coverage.
Yeah.
And where's the impartiality on the coverage? Because it didn't look like impartial coverage to me. They were really getting into it. They're meant to be newsreaders who are impartial, I thought.
Yeah, the value of this publicity must be extraordinary to them, to the organisation and the event.
Absolutely, Chris, but you make a really valid point. Where was the extensive wall-to-wall coverage and social media accounts for Australia Day?
Yeah,
from
Oz ABC social media.
Can you imagine?
No, it's just such a great contrast. Now, this goes to another issue of ABC bias that you've highlighted with a story in The Australian today, that the ABC's having to step in and train their people to try and be objective on the Indigenous Voice to Parliament issue.
This really is quite remarkable, Chris, that the ABC editorial management has to intervene and guide staff and train them up how to be objective when reporting on The Voice. It said they can't take particular sides and they can't focus on one side of the argument as opposed to the other. I mean,
but we already know what side they're on, right? It's so obvious. It's like like the Mardi Gras. It's this is their thing. They love the whole gay pride issue and they go in boots and all. Well, we know on the Yes case, they're boots and all. How do they claw back from that?
I think, Chris, it's really concerning for taxpayers that they have to intervene at the public broadcaster to train their staff to say you need to sit on the fence with this issue. That is a very sad state of affairs for journalism. Well,
it's an admission, isn't it, that they know that this issue is particularly obvious.
That's
and so
right.
They're taking the opportunity to step in there. Be interesting if they did the same thing, say, on climate policy. Maybe the ABC could be objective on climate policy.
Well, they'll be having these talk fests every day saying, oh, this issue, this is how to be impartial and make sure you don't show your bias. And I think social media is a good thing for ABC staff, Chris, because their biases come out for all to see.